So, good morning everybody, and today you find me at Houghton House near Ampthill in Bedfordshire. The house was reputedly the inspiration for the House Beautiful in John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. It was built in around 1615 for Mary Herbert, the Dowager Countess of Pembroke, on land granted to her by King James I. The building was completed in 1621 and was visited by King James, but unfortunately Mary died of smallpox later that year. The house passed through several hands, including the Marquis of Tavistock, the son of the Duke of Bedford, who lived here from 1764 until he was killed in a hunting accident in 1767. The house was dismantled due to a land dispute in 1794, and all its finery and contents, even the roof, was sold off. The grand staircase from the house can still be seen in the Swan Inn in Bedford. When the famous Lancelot Capability Brown landscaped Ampthill Park, it was decided to keep the ruins of the house as a feature, and here it still stands. So what about its ghosts and stories? Now, I haven't told Lynn anything about the paranormal goings on in here, but the majority of sightings seem to be dark, shadowy figures that dart out of sight when spotted. The feeling of being watched and the sound of a horse-drawn carriage pulling up inside, which may relate to a folklore tale I read called Young Susan, which I will recount later, and also the ghost of a young girl who waves as you walk by, and even a family from Leighton Buzzard who claim to have seen Mary, the Dowager Countess of Pembroke herself. So let's see if Lynn picks up on anything I found out as we take a walk around, and later I'll tell you about Young Susan. So anyway, Lynn, we've had a walk around this very nice ruin in Ampthill, Houghton House. You know, it is basically just a ruin with its stories, and I'm sure it's a very spooky place to be at night. Have you picked up on anything?
I can't say I've picked up on anything, nothing dark or spooky. As you say, it's going to be very different of sort of like dusk time than it is on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful.
I mean, there have been reports that this is one of the places I came to because ghosts are seen during the day.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be, you know.
Certainly haven't seen anything yet. I mean, we haven't walked totally all around it, possibly, but I haven't felt anything or indeed seen anything so far.
No, not just yet.
No.
Anyway, we're going to go and have a quick walk round and video the rest of it. And as I say, I'm going to relate the story of Young Susan as I go, which is ties in with one of the ghost stories around here. Okay, so we'll take a walk round.
Yes.
Well, anyway, to the story of Young Susan, which I found in a great book called Bedfordshire Folktales by Jen Foley. Now, I'm not going to tell the full story, it's too long for this episode, so this is the abridged version. So Susan has been sent to live here in Houghton House at the home of her wealthy aunt and uncle to make connections and maybe a good marriage. On this particular night, she, her aunt and uncle and her cousins are attending a ball in a nearby village. Susan, bored out of her mind, is over the moon when one of her cousins asks her to fetch a shawl for her. Thinking she must mean from Houghton Hall, she needed no encouragement to run through the house, out into the courtyard and onto the trap. Quickly encouraging the horses to head for home, she felt no fear driving in the dark down the Ampthill Road back to the hall. That is until she looked over her shoulder and saw the light of another carriage racing towards her. She quickened her speed, but the pursuing carriage getting nearer and nearer, the man was shouting and the horses' mouths were foaming as they clattered up the driveway of the hall towards the servants' quarters, where she knew she would find help. As she skidded the trap to a halt in the gravel, she leapt from the trap and ran to the door. As she raised her hand to bang on it, she was knocked sideways into the doorframe. She turned to see two men rolling on the floor, the driver of the pursuing carriage and a stranger. The stranger kicked the driver off him, pulled out a knife and stabbed him. The stranger now turns towards Susan, raising the knife. Suddenly, the courtyard is full of servants who overpower the man. Some of the maids go to the aid of the driver, who weakly explains that, leaving the ball on an errand himself, he sees the man conceal himself in the back of Susan's trap. As the man stood up to attack her, the driver shouts and made him get back down out of sight. He chased Susan, trying to warn her, eventually tackling the stranger just as he was about to attack her. He sadly passed away just after telling his story. No explanation was ever given as to the stranger's actions, but on some nights on the gravel drive, the whole scene is replayed, of the carriages flying up the driveway and coming to a skidding stop. Now, I personally think that this, with the columns and everything, looking out over the landscape, is really the nicest part of the ruin. You know, you can imagine being out here and looking out over this beautiful landscape in the times of Mary. There's a lovely view down. Yeah, it's a gorgeous. That's really the nicest part of the whole house. Right, okay, then we've been for a walk round.
Yeah.
We've done all that. We've decided it's just really a nice ruin. I don't really feel anything, but you were drawn. We'll just nip round there in a minute and see that one part on the outside you were drawn to a certain part. You don't know why, but it was left to right, you thought it was, yeah?
Right to left.
Right to left,
Something just came into my head, from right to left.
So we will pop round and have a quick look at that. But basically, it's, I mean, there's not, it's a ruin.
Yeah.
There's not an amazing amount of history to it. But there is a little bit of ghost history to it.
Yeah.
And there are online on YouTube, I've seen some of the ghost tours that of, you know, ghost people that have come over here. Now, I'm sure, as anything, as we've always said, it's totally different kettle of fish in the dark. Now, I must say, this place officially closes at 6 p.m. or dusk every night. So you're not officially allowed to come and ghost hunt at dark in this place. It's owned by the English Heritage, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, and it's supposed to be. And I don't know whether rangers come round and check, but definitely it's not supposed to be used after 6 p.m. at night. But I just think it's really nice. It is,
yeah, it's beautiful and beautiful surroundings. The countryside is really pretty.
I mean, it's well worth a visit.
Oh, absolutely well worth a visit, yeah.
You know, I've explained about the ghosts that are seen at the corner of the eye. You can sometimes see something watch you and disappears as soon as you see it.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be the sound of a stagecoach coming to a halt outside, which ties in with the young Susan story I've read.
Right.
Also, there is supposed to be a little girl who waves to you as you walk by. Of course, we've not seen anything like that. And also, there was a family down in Leighton Buzzard who saw that they actually saw Mary, the Dowager Countess herself. But anyway, that is what it is. But all I can say, it's a very nice place to just take a drive out, take a visit, maybe bring a picnic or something, and enjoy yourself on a nice day. It's a bit wet today.
Yeah.
But
a lovely place to walk round, isn't it?
Absolutely. Easy parking. Yeah. About a little bit of a walk.
Yeah.
But not too much. Free parking.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's quite a pleasant morning out.
Very pleasant, yeah.
So have you enjoyed yourself?
I have, yeah. I say nothing spooky or anything to feel.
No, we'll just nip round to that.
Yes, we'll go round and have a look.
We'll just nip round to that outside bit. There's a bit that you that you were on about, and I think we will just we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know, I will. We'll go back and find our bacon sandwich and cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
Which is the only reason we come out, really. Isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go and look at that. So, okay, Lynn. This is the place where you felt something.
Something, yeah.
So can you explain to us what it is?
All I felt was as I walked towards this part of the building, I was drawn to looking through first what must have been a window here, and now there's a partial window, and there at the end looks like more of a window but with nothing much behind it. And I was just looking into there, and there's some scaffold being put up there obviously for safety reasons, and into my head just came the thought from right to left, and so I did look from right to left, but it was not a scary or malevolent feeling in any way. I saw nothing, no shadows. It was just that word. I didn't hear anybody say from right to left.
Okay.
It was a feeling.
Well, if anybody's ever had a feeling in this part, on the far part of the house, in this position, if they could just drop us a line and say if they've ever felt anything, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had, as you know, Lynn, once again, I've felt absolutely nothing.
No.
I normally don't. So, but just a very nice place to visit.
It is. It's a lovely place.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our video to Houghton House this morning. If you did, if you could possibly give it a thumbs up, that really helps. And also, if you could subscribe to the channel, which costs absolutely nothing, it would be much appreciated. And ding the little bell for further notifications. So, from me and Lynn, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.